Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of, well, I guess we could say Thursday Night Madness here on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It's your girl, MF Michael Fletcher, alongside Anthony Florio. We are awaiting possibly the arrival of Michael Bullock. If he shows up, great. If he doesn't, then I guess we'll wait for him on Saturday for the return of the Cerebral Smack Talk. So, with that said,
You
we
mean
just.
tomorrow night because we got to preview the chamber.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So. Oh, that's right, because we're doing a special edition because we're doing SmackDown and we're doing Chamber, the preview of Chamber. So yeah. All right. With that said, we're just gonna dive right on in, guys. So we're gonna start out with NXT. NXT North American title on the line. Obi Fima versus Lexis King. Obi Fima, winning the match in 4 minutes and 2 seconds. This was, I guess you can call it a delicious squash, but it served its purpose. It was a good championship match, but the thing was, it was clean, effective. Lexis King, basically, look. I know a lot of people is like, well, he hasn't gotten a break yet in NXT. He hasn't gotten a break yet. Coming off of his run in AEW, has he done really anything up to this point? The answer is no. But Obi Fima right now is without a doubt the most over guy in NXT. From his run in the breakout tournament to what he has done by becoming the North American champion, this was clean and effective. Lexis King won't lose any stock in this. This was just one of those where Obi just needed to look more stronger, and they gave him a good opponent. It was fun for while it was lasted. It's about maybe a 2.25, 2.5, and maybe I may be generous with that rating because of it. But at the end of the day, the champion remains the champion. Anthony Florio, it is yours.
Yes, 2-star match for me. Look, this was fine for a match that had a few weeks of story behind it. It came off too superfluous, but the right man won in dominant fashion. Femi has made a strong impression and needs big defenses like this to build his aura. He should come off as unstoppable for a while until the right star is ready to challenge him. Another week, another unimpressive performance from King, who may need a complete character reset soon. So I'm just going to leave it at that. 2 stars. MF, set me up for the next match, if you would.
All right. This actually stemmed from a backstage about a week ago. Roxanne Perez going one-on-one with Ren Sinclair. It was Roxanne Perez winning the match in 4 minutes and 21 seconds. Anthony, it's yours.
2 stars. That's the theme. Let's see. As far as squashes go, this was about as clean as it gets. The Prodigy ran through her opponent and got to show her increased aggression by making her tap out. Ren Sinclair showed her experience moving smoothly throughout this quick match, but this was never about her. It was a good idea to keep offense against the Prodigy limited, especially as Roxanne Perez leans more heel. Hopefully after this show, NXT will do a better job establishing why Lyra Valkyria seems to be ducking the obvious challenge of Roxanne Perez. And in a pre-match interview, the Prodigy warned everyone that she was done playing by the rules until she got her title back. So that's all I can really say on that. So this was another 2 stars or so. So MF, there's no question about it. Roxanne Perez is on her way to a heel turn, and I can't wait to see it happen.
And the thing is, she deserves it. After what happened the couple of times, this is one of those turns where I actually side with her. She has been screwed over. She has been overlooked, not only by NXT, but, just in general. She had the title in her hands. She won the title twice and then had the title ripped from her. One from a cash-in. The second one because of Tatum Paxley basically, taking her out of the fight. So, I mean, it's really it's abundantly clear that, it's basically the world against Roxanne Perez. She tried to be, Ren Sinclair tried to feel sorry for her, but that was just the anger getting Roxanne, the anger got to her, and that's why. But she established herself like she's a major threat. There's no doubt in my mind she will easily become once again the NXT Women's Champion. It's just how's it going to play out? We don't know. We'll see. Next up we had was Josh Briggs and Brooks Jansen. This was about that had to happen. 10 minutes and 58 seconds, and Josh Briggs is the winner. Hey, you can call this fight of the night up to this point, but it finally broke the funk out of the first two fights. This is when NXT kind of woke up and said, all right, welcome to the show, folks. This was good. Hossman, this was a be a man fight. If there ever was one, this was easily, I want to say about 3. I'll say it's about a 3-star bout. Solid matchup, good action. And I like the big brother, little brother situation. But look, Jansen thought that, Jansen was probably getting a little jealous. Josh Briggs was having some success. Fallon Henley's been amazing lately in her run, and Briggs and Brooks Jansen has not had that moment yet to finally break out in NXT. He goes up against Josh Briggs. They picked a fight. Ava was like, no. We're not doing this. You guys want to fight so bad? In the ring next week. Last night was a couple of nights ago was the night. Briggs wins. Solid match. 3. Anthony, go.
What was the time of the fall?
10:58.
3 1/4, 3 1/2. This felt like a more appropriate end for Briggs and Jensen as a tag team. The former emphatically placed himself ahead of his partner, not with anger, but rather hope that Jensen could catch up. This was the first strong match of the night, and the crowd was into it. It was physical and intense, even if Briggs was especially leaning a little too hard into his one repetitive line for why he was fighting Jensen. The two have chemistry together and as opponents, but it's time for Jensen to start building himself as a solo act while Briggs goes after gold. And Jensen took a while to get going, but he got more aggressive with time, including stomping Briggs behind the barricade. And Jensen impressed Briggs when he kicked out after a big boot and choke slam. 3 1/4, 3 1/2. MF, next match if you would.
All right. It was JC Jane going one-on-one with Ariana Grace. JC Jane winning the match with a little help from Jasmine Nix, who I guess a member of Chase University. Never heard of her. But I definitely like what I saw from Jasmine Nix. I'll wink, wink. But I'll say this: if you notice, Thea Hale not really on the same page here. Some people claim maybe it was the botch date, on Valentine's or pre-Valentine's, the thing with Riley Osborne where that kind of blew up in her face. Some people are thinking maybe Jasmine Nix and JC Jane might be the new tandem in Chase U. We don't know. Anthony, 320, short match, but
yes.
Definitely some storyline progression as it relates to Chase University and this little, I guess, lovers quarrel between the girls.
1 to 1.5. It was odd to put Grace in this role as she was almost a babyface in this situation after only playing the heel in NXT. However, that is mainly because JC Jane is suddenly leaning heavily toward her own villainous side. She and Thea Hale have built up a strong rapport in recent months and would have been an interesting tag team, but it looks like NXT is leaning toward Jane going heel again, which feels rushed. The action here was fairly bland. Too much focus was put on the single spot on the outside, and neither Grace or Jane have flashy enough offense to stand out in a rushed 3 minutes. Backstage, JC Jane would not take any blame for Thea Hale's date with Riley Osborne going wrong. Grace tried to give Hale advice, but was shut down. This was the first time Jasmine Nix came out with Jane and Hale, and Jane seemed to favor Nix over Hale throughout. So that's really all I can say there. So 1.5. Nothing more to say. MF, let's get your thoughts on this match.
Yeah, and no doubt about it. This was about one star. No doubt. It was fine for what it was worth, but we'll wait and see how it plays out. Next up, speaking of Chase University, it was Andre Chase and Duke Hudson with the aforementioned Riley Osborne in their corner, going up against Axiom and Nathan Frazier. This actually stemmed from from earlier in the night, where they had a storyline with the reigning champions, Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin, and these two teams came out demanding a shot at the NXT titles, tag team titles, and basically you could say this was kind of an eliminator match if you think about it. But when it was all said and done, it was Andre Chase and Duke Hudson representing Chase University, winning the match in 11 minutes and 30 seconds. Solid match, good battle, another 3-star bout. However, once the match ended, Good Brothers showed up. Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows showed up and cleaned house. They left everybody in a heap, and we're like, whoa, what is this? Good Brothers back in NXT? Could they be going after the tag team titles? I'll tell you one thing for sure. They haven't really done much with them in the main roster. I'm actually a little bit intrigued. Seeing Gallows and Anderson going after the NXT tag team titles, maybe they might be the ones to dethrone. Remember, Braun Breaker just signed with SmackDown Live. So maybe this could be the team to take the belts, have them hold it for a little bit before the next team step up. I wouldn't mind it. It'd be too sweet. Florio, it's yours.
Fight of the night for me, 3.5 stars. Once again, Nathan Frazier and Axiom stole the show. This tag team needs to be kept in the running and maybe pushed to the main roster together. They have made every opponent look better. However, this was weaker than their recent battles with the Wolf Dogs and Malik Blade and Idris Sanofi, but it was still the best in-ring action of the night. It's hard to say if the right team won, as both should get a title shot soon, but the wrong pair stood tall at the end. As for the OC, that I believe they could use an NXT reset. However, I don't think they should be in the title picture right away. Thea Hale looked conflicted as Chase U headed to the ring for their match, but she headed to the back with JC Jane and Jasmine Nix. Frazier and Axiom wiped out their opponents with a pair of topes each to their opponents, standing tall together in the ring. On their way out, Gallows and Anderson warned that they were in NXT as long as they wanted to be and would do what they wanted to do. One of the greatest tag teams of all time, well known for their success in Japan, former Raw tag team champions on top of that. And who knows, maybe they could add NXT tag team champions to that soon. But like I said, I don't think they need to be in the title picture right away. But with the way the booking's headed, they just might be. I think it's a little too soon, but that's just me. So 3.5 stars, no question about it. This was the fight of the night, no doubt about that. So with that being said, MF, let's set me up for the next match. Let's go.
Well, this one we're going to throw away. This was Lash Legend versus Kelani Jordan. It was Lash Legend winning the match in 4 minutes and 24 seconds. And it led us to the main event of the evening. It was Lau Valkyria versus Shotzi for the NXT Women's title. The match ends early in 4 minutes and 15 seconds. What we heard during the week was that Shotzi got hurt. We didn't know the full extent of it until we saw the match. It's a torn ACL. She tore the meniscus. She's out for 6 to 9 months. Surgery required. She is out. Absolute heartbreak for Shotzi. Devastating blow to WWE's roster. Devastating blow to SmackDown. And you got to feel for Shotzi, because the way the move happened, she went basically for a DDT, a spike DDT off the apron, but when she landed awkwardly, landed on her left knee awkwardly, and down she went. In the picture-in-picture, she couldn't get up. The medics came out, and basically the fight was over. Ava Raine came out, said that they were you know what, any girl who wants a shot at this title, come on out. Open challenge, right here, right now. Lash Legend comes out, they do a match. La Valkyria wins the match in 5 minutes and 50 seconds to successfully defend the NXT Women's title. But the thing that really stands out is that, yes, Lara wins. She successfully defends the title. But everybody is thinking about Shotzi right about now. Obviously, it was an unfortunate incident. The injury was a freak accident. I mean, we've seen injuries that just comes out of nowhere. As a matter of fact, we saw the most freakiest of injuries at the Super Bowl with Greenlaw. When his Achilles just popped out of nowhere.
That damn
and
turf.
Yeah. And the turf monster got him. And in this instant, because she did that jumping DDT down off the apron, the knee just gave way. It just popped on her, and she tore her meniscus, and she's out. So obviously she's getting surgery done, and it's unfortunate. It's a heartbreak for me. So, I joke about the stupid tank and everything else, but let me tell you, I got nothing but respect and love for Shotzi, and I wish her nothing but the best. And Anthony, we don't really have to talk about the match. If you want to, go ahead. But yeah, it's an automatic NA for me too.
Shotzi match, that is.
Yeah. So just give me your thoughts.
Very unfortunate, but I'll get into that in just a moment. Lyra Valkyria and Shotzi barely got going before Shotzi landed badly on an apron DDT. She was unable to keep weight on her left knee. Match was called off, and rightly so. That's an NA. Ava announced that the fans would get an NXT Women's Championship match courtesy of an open challenge, answered by Lash Legend. She dominated the Valkyrie until the champion dropped her off the second rope and hit a diving splash for the win. This was an unfortunate situation. Best wishes to Shotzi on a full recovery from her ACL tear. Hopefully she can come back better than ever and get more opportunities like this to show her ability. To their credit, Valkyria and Legend did what they could afterward to give the fans a title bout. It wasn't a clean fight, but Legend showed off more of her growing in-ring arsenal, while Valkyria worked from underneath well. The finish felt rushed, but it was all called on the fly. It's miraculous that the two were able to string together anything with their shared experience and the need to immediately improvise. The Valkyrie would likely have retained her title no matter what, as the money is still on a Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez showdown at Stand and Deliver on WrestleMania Saturday. All right, so as far as the Shotzi match goes, that's an automatic NA. As far as the Legend match goes, I'll give it 2.5 for the effort. Early in the night, the Valkyrie asked Tatum Paxley to stay in the back no matter what. Roxanne Perez destroyed a TV after she realized Legend had skipped her in line for a title bout. And that's really all there is to say on that. So it's a 2.5 for me. You're not going to like what I'm about to say when it comes to this show, but you know me. I have to be the man who tells it like it is. And don't get me wrong, I look forward to doing these shows all the time, but there are some rare times where I have to, be a bit of a downer here. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to be a downer here. Tape shows usually don't go all that well, and this was no exception. This was a tape show, by the way. And don't get me wrong, we had two very good matches, Briggs and Jensen, along with that Chase U, Axiom, Nathan Frazier tag team bout. And I'll even throw a bone to that impromptu women's title match with Lyra Valkyria and Lash Legend. But other than that, nothing else really stood out to me. So I'm sorry, but Anthony Florio not impressed, in the immortal words of the Bret Hart meme on Meme Gene Okerlund. It's a 4 out of 10 for me. I'm sorry. It was a flat night of action, especially deflated by the circumstances in the main event. But the rest of the show was also up and down. There is an argument to be made that WWE should not have aired the original title match after the injury, though that should be Shotzi's decision either way. Lash Legend did her best to make the most of the spotlight, but she does not have the experience yet to work 2 matches back to back, let alone one called as an audible. It was an awkward situation all around. Brooks Jensen and Josh Briggs had a very good match, but it probably should have opened over that rough and brutal North American Championship squash. Chase U had a decent bout with Nathan Frazier and Axiom, though it was overshadowed by the arrival of the OC and the Good Brothers. But the rest of the action was uninspiring, though that was hardly surprising. Each bout was between 3 and 5 minutes and largely one-sided. The best promos of the night were the pre-taped answers from Carmelo Hayes and Ilya Dragunov, who should make NXT more exciting next week when they face off. 4 to 4.5 out of 10. Not a good show at all. So nothing more to say. MF, your thoughts, and then we'll move on to a much better AEW Dynamite.
Yeah, no, I can give it 3.5 to 4. Yeah, you're right. A lot of it was short matches. They, like you said, 3 to 5 minutes. And like you said, it was a tape show. Whenever they're tape shows, they kind of really don't deliver in any form, shape, form, or fashion. That's why we prefer the live formats, because normally when they're doing live programming, live shows, the shows are a lot more focused, a lot more anything. This kind of,
remember, tomorrow night SmackDown is a tape show too.
Yeah, but the thing is, I'm a little more confident about SmackDown because I feel like they know what they're doing. At least because unlike NXT, I think SmackDown and Raw knows what they're doing. They can handle the situation. If there's, for some reason, there's an off night, all right, fine, we can give you that. But for NXT, you can't really afford an off night. But even though this was definitely one of the off nights, and you could even make an argument that this might be the worst show of the year, and I would not blame you for that. It still needs some work. It's a work in progress. Like you said, hopefully next week they'll turn it around because it'll be back to live programming. So hopefully it'll be better next week. So we'll see. All right. So speaking of AEW Dynamite, which we're going to get into right now, that was from Tulsa, Oklahoma at the BOK Center. And here we go. We started off with a tag team fight. Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli versus FTR. The fight ends in a time limit draw. Went the full 20 minutes. It was a 20-minute time limit. We went the full 20, folks. Draw. Fans were yelling for 5 more minutes. Unfortunately, we did not get that this time around. It was 4 to 4.5 stars. Great action from beginning to end. I hate when the thing goes to a freaking time limit draw. I don't like it. I don't like the outcomes. I don't like when they do this. Give us at least a winner. Give us at least something. If you're going to try to run this back, fine. Run it back. But damn it, the hell, AEW's been doing this they've done this about maybe 4 or 5 times to us already in their history, and every time we get pissed at them for this. This was a great matchup, great fight, but I just can't for the life of me understand why this had to be a time limit draw. There's nothing at stake. This wasn't for a title. There was no, this was maybe a ranked fight, And what does this do for the rankings? It does nothing. It ends in a draw for what? I don't know. 4 to 4.5 stars. Anthony, go.
4.25 to 4.5 stars. This was the fight of the night, despite the draw. This was not a technical classic, despite 3 of the competitors being celebrated technicians. But it was still a fun, hard-hitting fight that made all 4 men look tough. This match kept getting better as it went. Every time Justin Roberts revealed how much time was left, it added to the sense of urgency. The bell rang as FTR was about to hit the Shatter Machine on Jon Moxley, making it a draw. The crowd began chanting 5 more minutes, and when both teams started fighting, the ref called for security to break it up. They kept finding ways to keep fighting despite the dozen people trying to keep them apart. The spot when Mox and Wheeler were headbutting each other was good, but didn't make a ton of sense. Castagnoli was so casual as he walked up to Moxley to save him from Harwood on the outside. Wheeler's hot tag sequence after the break was awesome. And the dueling sharpshooters was a fun spot. You may not like the outcome. I don't like the outcome either, MF. I'm 100% with you on that. But damn it to hell, man. What a match it was. I mean, this was a Be a Man fight. I mean, let's be realistic. I mean, I knew I had a great feeling about this match going in, but now I'm not defending the outcome, but my hunch, and this is strictly coming from me, I think my gut is telling me that Tony Khan and his creative team had a hard time deciding on a winner, and they're like, well, they're both great. We can't have one lose. So he probably wanted to protect both teams. That's just my hunch. And there was a backstage moment after the match was over with FTR suggesting maybe something, we might get a possible rematch at Revolution. I don't know. I'd be all for it because I love all 4 of these guys and I wouldn't mind seeing them run it back again. However, if you do run it back, give us a winner. Because God forbid, if you pull this crap on pay-per-view, I mean, TV is one thing, but if you pull this crap on pay-per-view, you're going to have, and depending on Bullock's availability, you're going to have at least 2, maybe 3 angry, pissed off guys coming after you. I mean, MF could have gone full-on Cerebral Viper here. And I could go straight 97 Bret Hart on that. But pull this again. If you do run it back at Revolution and you give us this same finish, hell to pay there will be. So we'll let it go for now. But don't ever do it again. At least not for a long while. So 4.25, 4.5. It was the fight of the night, though. Be a Man fight. MF, they're obviously running it back at Revolution. Nothing's been confirmed yet, but maybe we'll see possibly as early as maybe Saturday night on Collision or maybe next Wednesday night on Dynamite. I don't know. The go-home show, we'll see, but 4.25, 4.5. And while we may not like the finish, MF, you got to admit, it was one hell of a Be a Man fight to jump it.
Oh yeah, no, it was a great match to start. It's just like I said, I'm not happy with the outcome.
Me neither.
But it is what it is. All right, so Orange Cassidy versus Mike Bennett, non-title match, by the way. Orange Cassidy wins the match in 9 minutes and 45 seconds. So Anthony, it's yours.
3.25 here. I'll tell you what. Before the match started, Renee Paquette interviewed Orange Cassidy along with the doctor, Doc Samson. And Doc Samson said that Orange was cleared to compete. So he decided to step into the ring against Mike Bennett to continue his feud with the Undisputed Kingdom. And the thing nobody saw coming was Jake Hager coming to Orange Cassidy's rescue. This is an interesting development, but we will need to hear from Jake Hager about why he saved OC despite having no previous history with him. I'll give this about a solid 3, maybe 3.25 for the effort. Orange Cassidy being more aggressive has been so good for his character progression. The Tope Suicida from OC was filmed well. AEW used a good angle, so it was a surprise to viewers at home. So nothing more really to say here. So this was about 3 to 3.25 stars. So nothing more to say. MF, Jake Hager. Of all people, Jake Hager coming to Orange Cassidy's aid.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is interesting. Maybe we gotta wait and see how it plays out. Is he a new ally for him, or is he out to try to become the international champion? I think that's going to be the big question, but we'll wait and see how that plays out. But yeah, 3 stars, no doubt about it. We move on. Now we got a series of matches. So we had Toni Storm in a squash match. She won her match in 1:50. Dud, worst fight of the night. Then we had Deonna Purrazzo versus Madison Rayne. Deonna Purrazzo wins the match in 7 minutes and 20 seconds. Fine match, but the ending. Oh my God. Yeah. Deonna Purrazzo does a move,
DDT.
and Madison Rayne took like she literally fell on the top of her head.
Oh,
like she absolutely took a header onto the mat. I mean, you saw the reaction from the.
You know me. You know how much I worship and adore Madison Rayne.
Oh yeah,
going back to her TNA days.
That looked absolutely scary.
Prayers
that
up.
Move.
I immediately had the prayers up right there.
And then obviously, Deonna Purrazzo she was attempting to do the Venus de Milo, and we're like, no, please don't. And then she just does a simple ankle lock to get the submission victory. But at that point, the fight was done. The minute she got spiked on her head, the fight was done.
I'm surprised they didn't throw an X up.
Yeah. The referee was trying to tell Deonna, end it now, please. Just she's hurt. Like she's hurt her. And so it obviously took away from the match. It definitely took away from the ending, because this was supposed to have been 2 showcase fights for both women as it relates to their championship title fight coming up at Revolution. But Toni Storm won her match in less than 2 minutes. Done. Then Deonna Purrazzo won her match in 7 minutes, which we would have given a rating if it wasn't for that ending. I'm not ranking either one of these fights. These are automatic NAs for me because out of respect for Madison Rayne, who got it looked like she took one. I don't know how bad she got hurt. We haven't heard anything from AEW about an injury, about a concussion, or anything. We haven't heard nothing from them. So, like we said, thoughts and prayers are with Madison Rayne, and hopefully it's not as serious. But oh my God, Florio, it's yours.
First things first, Madison Rayne tweeted out on social media this afternoon, "Hi, I'm okay. Thanks so much to everyone who celebrated my Dynamite return and those who checked in on me afterwards." And she also said, "To those who have never stepped into a ring but tweeted awful things at me with zero knowledge of what actually happened, thanks for watching. Have a great day." So she says she's okay. So I'll take her word for it. But yikes. That's all I can say on that.
Yeah. Yikes is definitely the word I would have said too.
Yeah. Cringe. That's all there is to say on it. I mean, okay. Let's dive it out here. Toni Storm, yeah, that was a dud. I mean, the local talent she faced tried to get in a little offense, but Luthez press from the champ put her on the mat. And to prove a point, Toni Storm used Deonna Purrazzo's signature Venus de Milo submission to get a quick win. And that was the definition of a squash match. It was a delicious squash. That was a dud. I would have given this match 2.5 stars, but MF, you made a great point. I too am going to give it an NA, even though I would have given it 2.5 if I did put a rating on it. The pace was a bit on the slow side, but most of what they did looked great. The bout may have been a better fight, but the outcome was just as predictable as Storm's was. Purrazzo is preparing for her first AEW women's title match, so there was no way she was going to be booked to lose this close to the pay-per-view. Unfortunately, a late match box that led to Madison Rayne falling right on top of her head took the wind out of the contest sails. She was able to finish the bout, but it was only a moment later. Let's hope she is all right. She tweeted out she was okay, so I'm going to take her word at face value for that one. Keeping Toni Storm in black and white while showing Purrazzo in full color in the same shot is such a simple but effective way to use her gimmick. And the spot with Madison Rayne falling on top of her head was scary. Very scary. So, and yeah, prayers up. I immediately had the prayers up in my mind. I mean, I know Madison Rayne very well. You know, she started her career in Shimmer with Nevaeh. I mean, they were one of the greatest, if not the greatest, female tag team in the history of the Shimmer promotion. No question about that. And then, of course, TNA, where she became a major household name, aligning with the beautiful people, and, of course, becoming one of the greatest Knockouts champions in history, 5-time title holder, and also a former co-holder of the Knockouts Tag Team Championships with the beautiful people, with Angelina Love and Velvet Sky and Lacey Von Erich, invoking at times the infamous Freebird rule. But nonetheless, it was so great to see her. And I was expecting, you know, something really, really good, but I'm not surprised they kept it short. And that bump, yeah. Praise God that she's all right. And, you know, take it easy. Don't take any matches for a while. And then when you're ready to come back, do your thing again. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing her wrestle again. I mean, at this stage in her career, it's a treat to see her wrestle. And, but yeah, prayers up for her. No question about it. Originally, I was going to give it 2.5, but after what MF said, I'm going to respectfully NA it like MF did. So there isn't much more to say on that. So, MF, let's move on to our 6-man tag team main event, a very unique 6-man tag team main event based on the pairings.
Yeah, it was Hook, Adam Hangman Page, and Rob Van Dam versus AEW champion Samoa Joe, Swerve Strickland, and Brian Cage with Prince Nana. And it was Samoa Joe, Swerve Strickland, and Brian Cage winning the match in 21 minutes and 40 seconds. Anthony, it's yours.
Second best fight of the night here. This was about 4.25 as well. This was the usual AEW. All right, I'll tell you what. As soon as Hangman and Swerve were in the ring together, they were brawling. This match saw several combinations of opponents, but Swerve and Hangman felt like the main focus, even with Joe involved in the bout. This was the usual AEW trios match with a lot of multi-man spots and no attempt to keep the illegal partners out of the ring. This was fine, but it felt like something was missing. It's tough to say what it was, because it felt like all 6 men were doing their best. Hangman put Swerve through the announce table with a powerbomb, but Joe was able to win for his team with the Coquita Clutch by choking out RVD. Shout out to Bullock for that one. And then I'll tell you what, it's been great to see Brian Cage getting more matches on AEW television. He's a talented performer with some unique qualities for a powerhouse. Hey, MF and I, trust us. We know this. Dating back to his days as the monster badass heel on Lucha Underground for all those years. And then, of course, RVD, the Hall of Famer, he has so many moves that he could fill a few minutes of a match just with those. And man alive, I mean, the man's 53 years old and he's still running around like he's freaking 30. Just like Sting. Although he's not as old as Sting, but he's 53 and he's still taking bumps like he's 30, dating back to his days in ECW, for all I know, when he was in his 20s. But, man, just like with Madison Rayne, it's always a treat when you get to see someone that you hardly ever see wrestle anymore. And it's definitely a nice surprise and a nice treat to see, you know, the Hall of Famer, Rob Van Dam, in a wrestling ring. So, I'll give this about 4 to 4.25 for the effort. It was the second best fight of the night. That opening tag bout, that to me was the fight of the night. But this was just as good. So, but the only thing, MF, I mean, I know they were trying to go for the classic heel versus face dynamic. I get that, but I would have switched it up. I would have made this like a wild card match, if you will, all of the 1995 Survivor Series. I would have put Hook, RVD, and Brian Cage against Swerve, Hangman, and Joe to see how those three would coexist. That's how I would do it. But not my company. I'm not Tony Khan. That's obviously how he wanted to book it. But MF, if I was on that creative team, I would have switched it up just a smidge, and I would have put Joe, Swerve, and Hangman. Let's see how you can function as a team this close to your big main event match.
Yeah. I wouldn't have been too mad about that. Yeah, I would not have been mad with that decision. 3.5 stars, no doubt about it. I think that was definitely the right rating. Second best fight of the night. I'll give you that as well. I thought they did a good job with it. Could have been better in certain areas, yes, but at the end of the day, I thought they did a fine job with it. So, nothing more to say. Overall review, yeah, solid AEW show. You could even make an argument for 8 out of 10 is my rating for the show. I thought they did a really good job with this. So yeah, nothing more to say. Anthony, it's yours.
7.5 to 8 out of 10. Last night's Dynamite started off strong with Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli versus FTR, but a few moments through the rest of the show kept it from being as good as it could have been. The scary botch with Madison Rayne and Ric Flair's weird segment backstage with Matthew and Nicholas Jackson stood out the most for bad reasons, but most of what we saw in the ring was decent. The main event fell short of the opening bout, so the show felt a bit lopsided. If you only watch one match, make it Mox and Claudio versus FTR. So it's a 7.5 to 8 out of 10 for me. So with that being said, MF, let's put a bow on this thing and let's set the table for tomorrow night and Saturday night.
Yeah, so tomorrow night, we have another edition. This will be, you could say, a little bit of a makeshift of a Cerebral Smack Talk. So we're going to start it out with SmackDown Live. Then we're previewing the Elimination Chamber from Perth, Australia. That's going to be going down on Saturday morning around 5 a.m. here in the East Coast. So you're definitely burning the midnight oil if you're out west, folks, in California and everything else. 2 a.m. Ouch. I hope you guys are ready. And for all you guys in the UK, hey, you get at a reasonable hour. Normally we're the ones. Normally you guys are the ones that are waking up early in the morning.
They're 13 hours ahead of us.
Yeah. So think about
their time.
Huh?
6 p.m. their time.
Yeah.
Australia.
The Euros actually win this time around.
Yes, they do.
The Euros get the victory. This time it's us that actually has to suffer.
I'll watch it later. I'm not getting up that early. I'm telling you right now, I'm not.
All right. So some people are, some people aren't. I know I can't do that. So we'll see it. But anyway, so we got that. And then Saturday, we are recapping that particular event. And we're also going to be previewing the RWA Renegade Rumble.
Yeah.
So we're going to be previewing the Renegade Rumble. That's going down on Sunday. We'll be there. Myself, Florio, and Bullock, we're all going to be there at Our Lady of Fathom.
Our Lady of Rosary Church.
Our Lady of Rosary, which is in Providence. Yep. The Renegade Rumble, their version of the Royal Rumble event. The names have been, not all the names, but almost the entire field got released. So we know 25 out of the 30 names. They haven't released all of them. There's 5 left over there's 5 surprises, but everybody else, we know who's going to be in that Rumble. So we got that. We'll preview it. And then we go from there. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting next couple of days. We'll be back tomorrow night. We'll do it at 10 p.m. After SmackDown goes off the air, we're going to go on the air. So for Anthony Florio, I'm Michael Fletcher saying so long, everybody, and we'll see you all tomorrow night.
Goodbye.